My name is Sue Baker, and as the slide says, I work in the Victim Services Unit of the Vancouver Police Department. And I just want to thank the organizers for inviting me today and just having an opportunity to tell you a little bit about what a victim services program does and some of the general types of resources that we refer people to as they go through whether that's exposure to a criminal incident in their city or exposure to a traumatic incident or a traumatic loss. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. So the VPD Victim Services Unit provides support to victims, witnesses, and family members for all types of crime, traumatic incidents, and loss in the city of Vancouver. And whether you live in Vancouver or whether you have been visiting Vancouver and you have experienced either victimization or some type of exposure to a traumatic incident, we can offer services to you. Our referrals for our unit typically come from police officers or community partners. However, victims can also call our unit directly to access support and services. So the kinds of services that we do provide include emotional support, which are things like information around common psychological responses to crime and other types of trauma. Oh, thank you very much. Is that better? Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'll just start that piece again. In terms of the services that we offer, so we provide emotional support, which includes information regarding common psychological responses to crime and trauma, as well as strategies for self-care and coping with these types of incidents. We also provide access to information regarding the police investigation or the criminal justice system and the rights that victims have in BC. Also, we provide practical assistance and support, and so that is things like filling out documents, filling out applications, or registering for different assistance programs that are available. We also provide resources and referrals to programs and things that are in your own community. We offer court support and accompaniment for folks who may are required to attend court because they have experienced victimization in some form. And so part of our unit, part of what our unit does as well is we will provide support to folks who have to go to court for accompaniment purposes, whether that's attending Crown Council meetings or actually having to go and testify at court. And then we also have a mobile response unit, and so at the request of police, victim services will attend the scene of a crime or a traumatic incident to provide crisis intervention, support, as well as practical assistance, and this is immediately after the incident takes place. And just to note, we are only ever dispatched to a police incident by officers via 911. But in the course of our work, we will connect victims and families to some common types of resources, and they generally fall within 3 categories. And so I wanted to share these ones with you because they are they're accessible to anybody in BC. So I didn't want to share a lot of Vancouver-specific resources, but rather ones that you can access no matter where you're living in the province. And they're also resources that have a referral component to them. So if you're looking for other types of services and resources, these in particular can make those referrals for you, as well as allow you to access the things that they offer as well. So, excuse me. So specifically around, I have to get my water, 1 second. Just grab that. Thank you. So in terms of criminal justice resources, and all of the resources that I'm going to talk about as well, I've brought brochures and pamphlets and things for you to be able to take with you. And I think they're all out in the lobby on one of the tables. So please, I'm going to go through these quickly, but please do take a minute to take anything that you'd like to read further into. So in terms of legislation, there's the BC Victims of Crime Act as well as the Canadian Victims Bill of Rights. And under these two types of legislation, victims are entitled to a number of rights, and those things include, but are not limited to, the right to information about the police investigation and the right to information about what is happening in terms of charges or court, the right to protection, also the right to privacy if you are the victim of a crime. That's one of the rights that's afforded to you under both of these pieces of legislation. And another one is the right to participation, and that means your ability to participate in the justice process by providing testimony and also by providing a victim impact statement where you have an opportunity to share with the court how an incident has affected you. And it's very important that if you ever find yourself in a situation where you have been victimized, that you do know what your rights are and who can assist you in obtaining information and services that support the rights that you're afforded. And so, there, as I said, there's information in the lobby about those two different acts and all of the rights that you're afforded under those. The other service I wanted to tell you about is Victim Link BC. And Victim Link is a 24-hour toll-free service for anybody in BC who has experienced a crime. And so they can provide you, again, with information about the criminal justice system. They can assist you if you're looking for support related to court. They can also refer you to a victim services program in your area. They can refer you to a transition house if you're looking for a safe place. And they also provide interpretation services for all the major languages in BC. They have quite an extensive list of interpreters, and I've yet to encounter a language that they weren't able to support with interpretive services. So this is a 24-hour phone service. It's free, it's confidential, as well as the interpretation services that they have. They also have a special phone line for folks that are deaf and hard of hearing. So it's a really great resource, and one I would definitely encourage you to take a look at and pick up some information about that. And then I wanted to just mention briefly the Crime Victim Assistance Program. And so this is a government-run program, and it provides financial benefits to victims, immediate family members, and witnesses who are dealing with the effects of violent crime. CVAP works similar to an insurance program in the sense that you apply for eligibility, and if they do determine that you meet the eligibility criteria for the program, they can assist you with funding that will help reimburse some of the costs that you may have incurred as a result of a crime that you've experienced, such as not being able to go to work, lost wages, and those sorts of things. And the other thing that they will also provide is funding for counseling. And I think their program right now offers up to 48 sessions with a counselor. As well, on top of that, if then you are having to go into court, they'll award another, I think it's 24 sessions related to counseling support around having to go through the criminal justice process. And so I would encourage you to check that program out as well. And as I said, there's information about them in the lobby. And then just very quickly, the last couple of resources I wanted to tell you about, one of them is the Crisis Center, the BC Crisis Center. And they provide a number of services through their center. One of them is a distress phone service program, which is 24/7 free and confidential support where you can talk to a trained volunteer, where you can also access resources and referrals. And that's a 24/7 service that they provide. They also offer a seniors distress line. They offer a mental health support line. Part of their service is also the Crisis Intervention and Suicide Prevention Center. And then they also have two online chat services that you can access as well. So one of them is youthinbc.com for youth 12 to 24 years of age, and then the crisiscenterchat.ca, which is for adults 25 and over. And then lastly, one of the common resources we refer people to who are coping with bereavement, actually I'll just talk about this one quickly, yes, the Wellness Together Canada program. And so this program provides free phone counseling support and resources to both youth and adults. I believe that they'll provide up to 4 to 5 sessions once a week that is determined between you and the counselor that they pair you with. And this is also a service that's available for youth as well as adults. And they also do have a crisis support service as well that you can access via the text number that they indicate in on their resources. And then lastly, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the BC Bereavement Helpline. And that is a service that we often engage for folks who have suffered either any type of loss, whether that's a traumatic loss or otherwise. And again, it's a free and confidential phone support service. They can refer you to bereavement resources in your local community. They provide specific loss support for those who have suffered a loss related to the toxic drug overdose crisis, and also provide a number of support groups throughout the year for those that have experienced either suicide or homicide loss. So it's also a terrific resource. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention that there are over 90 victim service programs in the province, and they are both police-based as well as community-based. Every police agency has a victim services program. And so you can access that if you are having to deal with police for any situation. You can request that you be connected to their victim services program. And also, again, just to mention that Victim Link BC, one of the services that they can provide is a contact information for the victim services program that's local to your community. And that is it for me. Thank you.